Hello. We're going to keep working on volume today, and I'm going to show you a better way of expressing your volume. Because when we use pi is an irrational number, and anytime you express an answer when you multiply by pi with your calculator, you're rounding it. But one thing that we can do, if it often makes sense, is to do what's called express the volume in terms of pi. So I'm going to find the volume of this cone here. The base has a diameter of 10. I didn't mention this yesterday, but if the diameter is 10, then that means the radius is half of that number, which is 5. That's important to note sometimes. So the volume of this cone then would be 1/3 times pi times the radius squared. The radius is 5. And then times the height, which is 9. So I could use my calculator and do all this, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to sort of ignore the pi, and I'm going to acknowledge that it's there at the end. This is 1/3 times 25 times 9. So I'm just going to rewrite here 1/3 times pi times 25 times 9, and then I'm going to think to myself, can I just simplify this so that, I have this pi here, and then I'll just simplify the rest of the numbers. And I know that this whole factor is being multiplied by 1/3. Well, I notice that the 9 can cancel with the 1/3. 1/3 of 9 is 3. And then I can just think of this as pi times 25 times 3, and 25 times 3 is 75. So this has got a volume of 75 pi cubic units, and I just leave the pi there. I could use my calculator and multiply 75 times pi, but I'm just going to leave it like that. I've expressed it in terms of pi, and if I ever need to go and approximate it, I can just multiply. But that's how we express in terms of pi. Here's a hemisphere with a diameter of 12, which means that the radius of this hemisphere is 6. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with my volume formula, but the volume of a hemisphere, I have to cut the sphere in half. So it's 1/2 times 4/3 times pi times the radius to the 3rd power. And then I'm going to start thinking about anything. Well, let's do that. 1/2 times 4/3 times pi times 6 to the 3rd power is 216. So now I'm going to start trying to make this as simple as possible. Let's see, I can do 1/2 of 216. That's 108. Boom, 108. And I think I can actually even find 4/3 of 108. 108 divided by 3 is 36. So that means I'm doing 4/3 times pi times 108. I can do 108 divided by 3 is 36. And then 4 times 36 is 144 pi. So my volume is 144 pi cubic units. You can practice this 3 times on today's assignment. Or no, I'm sorry, 8 times on today's assignment. And check back tomorrow for the answers. Have a good Thursday. I hope you're well.